Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast. This community is about providing value first, and rather than having one interaction, one transaction, and one payday from the work you do, we're here to teach you to build so much more.
Hey, welcome to our weekly Probate Mastermind from probatemastery.com. I'm Bill Gross, and I'm your host today and every week, or almost every week. We do this every Tuesday at noon time, Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and everything else in between. And this is designed, and in fact, we just had a staff meeting this morning. I'm not a staff member. I'm just a real estate broker. I'm in Los Angeles building really a national team of probate-focused real estate agents. And like you, I work on listings every single day and selling property. And when this meeting was going to be held, I said to Chad, "Hey, I'll organize this because I need this to be here every week." So we do this every week, and the goal here, the purpose of this call, is really for practitioners to help you have a place to go to share best practices, share victories, work through problems, and work together for actual business. I want to share with you, make sure you're aware of some of the free resources. I get asked a lot, well, how do I get started? And I say, well, there's a lot of different places you can go, but here's a couple of free resources. Number one is Probate Mastery. This is our host and our basic program. Comes through Probate Mastery, founded by Chad Corbett. And I took his training about 4.5 years ago. He launched this new version a couple years ago. I took that, and I would say it definitely is the best certification program. I've taken, I think, 5 of them, different companies, and by far I think this is the best in terms of teaching you where to come from in the business. And so you'll see on here, if you're more interested in the program, but he also has the podcast, past episodes, referral directory, and then the different coaching products. And you can see here the Probate Mastery is one of the programs. It's a certification course. The earn course is the second level, how to earn attorney referrals now. Another resource free on Facebook is the Estate Professionals Mastermind. This is open to anybody. We have 6,000 members in the group. Come in here and share questions, challenges, problems together. For those of us who've taken the Probate Mastery, there's a Probate Mastery alumni group. I tend to hang out here a little bit more, about 1,600 members there, where we again share leads and referrals and such. And in fact, I'm getting ready to post there. I'm looking for a real estate agent in Houston Metro. If you're there, please reach out to me. And then additionally is the estateprofessional.org, which is a great place to look for real estate professionals as well. In fact, I'm just going to do real quick. I'm looking for somebody in Houston. Let me just see if there's somebody in here. I don't know. I didn't even start here myself. And boom, there's Catherine and Dave. I bet they're related, Hamptons. And there's a couple names I'm going to start with there. I'm going to start with this group right here. Never mind. I think I have a couple of these to work on. And then just selfless promotion, if I can. My Facebook group is Probate Experts. We have about 2,000 members there, and that's open to anybody who wants to come in and talk about probate. I post content there, and then people come in and ask for help in various places around the country. And then I also host Probate Weekly, which is on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Pacific time. If you're interested, it's free. Register at probateweekly.com, and love to have you. That's more of an interview-based, where I bring in a guest every week, usually probate attorneys from around the country, estate planning attorneys and vendors and such. This call is really designed for people in the business. You're starting out, or you're rolling up your sleeves to expand your business, and we're here to work out problems, challenges. If you have a victory this week, feel free to raise your hand, share that, put it in the chat box. If you have a challenge, that's what we're here for. So who's got a question today to help us get started? Anybody, raise your hand or put in the chat box, and I'd love to be able to help you. Hey, Courtney Rollins in the house. What is up, Courtney? Let's get you unmuted.
Hey, how's it going, Bill? How's it going, everyone? Yeah, I'm having a blast, man. So I've been posting in the different groups that I've gone down to the clerk office and have had a lot of success being invited by the clerks into the probate cases in Durham, North Carolina, where I'm focused. They do the probates inside the office. I guess deputy clerks, I think their names are, have, almost like they're one-on-one private cases. And so I was able to interview the assistant clerk, I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago. And she was like, and I don't know if she asked me or if I asked her, but she said, yeah, you can sit in on cases. And I was like, hell yeah. So I've been sitting in on about 4 cases, well, 5 cases so far, and every one of them have been just an easy handoff to me. They're like, hey, this person, he's sitting in because he's a community resource and he wants to help, so he wants to learn more about the process. And then of course that lead automatically feels, connects to me and feels like I'm, trusted and valid resource. And I've been able to follow up with them, and looks like some really awesome prospects coming out of there. And it just keeps on like unraveling and bringing even more, opportunity in. I'm actually going to I haven't sat down with her yet, but the clerk is asked if I could help set up a either monthly or some iteration community event where with their office, and I have to find an awesome estate attorney or probate attorney to work together. And I just facilitate the space where we hold a community event where we're just sharing people the news about probate and how to avoid probate. So it's like, I'm going to be able to position myself as like a thought expert, even though I'm just getting started. And
no. Leave that part out of it. Position yourself as a thought expert. Keep going.
Yeah, and so it's just awesome. So thank you all for the suggestions, the opportunities. And
thought expert doesn't mean you have all the answers. It might mean you have
yeah.
the questions to stimulate the answers, and bring the right person in with the answers. In your case, we have so many people on this call and prior calls who say, well, how do I get attorneys to refer me business? How do I get attorneys' attention? Can I go by their offices? Can I mail them stuff? Can I call them? Here you have the clerk say, hey, do you have an attorney who'd like to speak to prospective customers?
Right, exactly.
I mean, really, it's just so easy and stupid. Now, I will say this, it's not like this all around the country. You're in Durham. I think people are friendlier in Durham than they are in LA. We're bigger probate. They're a little more overworked, whatever the differences are. But the only way to find out is to go there and try. Right?
Right.
That's it.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. I guess I did have one question, and it's probably just finding the right person, but I came across a lead. She's having an issue with insurance, where the insurance company, or he's having issues. They don't want to pay out because they're claiming the decedent was not employed, even though she was never terminated from her job and never, resigned from her job. So the PRs has asked me if I could just reach out to folks to see if there's any direction, of course, besides directing them to an attorney, which I definitely will. But if anyone has experience with that, I would love any help with that.
Well, so I have a little bit of experience in that there's certain attorneys who specialize in insurance claims, right? So that's a different, in this case, it happens to be the beneficiary is deceased, but many times they're not deceased, right? So whatever the reason why there's an insurance claim. So I think that first thing is, as you talk to your probate attorneys, they're going to belong to the bar association. They socialize with other attorneys. That's how they get referrals. So the best person to call would be attorneys. You're already going to call an attorney for the purpose of interviewing them to come speak at this event, right?
Right.
And you're not looking for one. You're kind of vetting them, and they want me to bring a couple candidates. So literally, you could call every probate attorney in town to see if they're interested in doing it, and it could help me understand why, when I present that to the county clerk, we should select you. Like, you could talk to them all about the same thing. And then secondly, on that call, you could say to all of them, oh, by the way, I have a client who has this case where the decedent passed. The question is whether they're employed or not. I don't think that's necessarily your work, but do you know an attorney that does this kind of work? And of course, they're going to go, geez, this guy's got all kinds of stuff going on. He's got presentations from the county clerk. He's got referrals for insurance cases. That's the kind of person everybody wants to work with.
Thank you. Oh, and one last, that's perfect. One other thing, what you said, or would you keep reiterating about contacting our COIs and buyers that I've come in contact with, it's just such an easy conversation. Hey, I see that you don't have your property in a trust, or I see that you do. Who do you, I've already connected with several attorney referrals based on just asking past buyers, why don't you have your property in a trust? And asking past buyers who do have their property in trust, hey, could you connect me with the person who did your trust?
Now, Courtney, don't take offense to this. In fact, close your ears to this. I'm going to say to all the realtors listening who've been in business 10 years or more, see, Courtney's too stupid to know it doesn't work. He thinks it's going to work. He thinks when you call a client and offer to help them, they're going to appreciate that and share information with you. You as a realtor know he's wasting his time. Don't pay attention to the results he's getting. I must tell a real estate agent either on my team or somebody calls me off this call for help, and I tell them all the exact same thing. Before you buy data, before you cold call, or while you're starting, why not call the people who already know, like, and trust you?
Right.
And those who don't have a trust, who bought their name, ask them why and make sure they're aware of it. So Courtney's doing that, and he's, again, too stupid. He's too green to know it doesn't work. For him, it's working.
Absolutely.
So I want to be as stupid as Courtney is. If I work at it, I can clean my brain and get back to the point because I know too much. I know what the customers are going to say before I ask them. He's just asking, and I imagine some are interested. And I guess some probably don't like your question and blow it off. But again, you're too new to know there's a difference. You're just excited to help people.
Right, exactly. Enthusiasm covers a lot, so heck yeah.
It does. And that smile helps a lot too. So as long as you're charming. So look, again, for all of us on the call, Courtney, obviously, congratulations and keep up the good work. Keep at it. And for the rest of us, hope he's an inspiration to all of us, me included, that let's not presume that our customers know everything. We could be inquisitive and just ask, hey, notice you bought the property, you didn't use a trust. Are you aware of it, the advantages of it, and why have you not? And if you find somebody who needs somebody, now even another reason to call an attorney to introduce that client to, right? Courtney, man, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
I saw another hand up, but it went back down again. I don't know. Was it Shirley?
That was me.
Who was that?
That was me.
Stanley. What's up, Stanley?
Hey, Bill, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, so I definitely have a win. There was an attorney that I have been reaching out to for months, and I mean, I've just been bugging her every single week. But eventually, I reached out to her several weeks ago, asking how I may be of assistance. She asked me, do I specialize in cleanouts and things of that nature? And of course, I told her, sure, I have a team and we can handle it. So she invited me down, and she works in this active adult community, and 95% of her business comes from that community alone. So I went down to meet her, take a look at the property, just talk business. And then she was like, Stan, you have the listing. And she says, I'm going to introduce you to everyone here in this community as well. So it seems like a lot of my business is because it's just going to be coming from that community. So that was a win that I had to share.
So Stanley, you're a real estate agent or investor?
Both.
Okay, which is your primary?
Right now, agent.
Okay, and where do you sell real estate?
Maryland.
What part?
So the place where the attorney is located is Montgomery County, but I am in Baltimore County.
Okay, and so could you make a living just in that one adult community?
Absolutely. There's over 17,000 homes there.
Yeah.
Like
and you know, it's so funny because I met a real estate agent about 3 years ago who I was coaching her, and she had gotten 3 listings from a sales rep at an adult community.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, I can't really get more business from her because she's my best friend. I don't know the others. I said, well, hold on. There's others? She goes, oh yeah. They have like a team of like 5 or 6 at her center. She was a large one like yours. I said, really? I said, does the company own other properties? Oh yeah, they have like 6 properties in I think she was South Carolina, North Carolina, like that kind of area of the South. Like, I don't know what the region's called, but like in 5 states, they had like 7 properties. They have 35 salespeople. And I said, you know, if you just spent the rest of your career working those salespeople, you'd be too busy to do anything else the rest of your life.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you got that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It just reminds me of what Chad says. All you need is just one relationship. You don't need a plethora of them.
Well, and I think I would add to that, I'm sure he would say also, it's not just the one relationship, but the relationship implies a desire to connect deeply with them. So what do they need on a deep level? What are their challenges? What are their problems? What resources can you bring that they'll benefit from? And that's the relationship part, right? So let's make sure we don't hear, well, I just need one person and now I'm going to get a bunch of deals. This is an opportunity for a long-term, ever deepening relationship that can be mutually beneficial to you and to them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, man. Great for sharing. Any questions, or is that it?
I actually have a question as well.
Yep.
So sometimes when you call on PRs, sometimes they have everything settled. They're preparing to resolve the estate. They're good to go. So I'm asking, is it right to ask at that point, hey, listen, by the way, do you happen to know anyone who is going through probate or anyone who's looking to buy or sell real estate? Would you slip that in there?
So here's the thing. I know when I was trained as a realtor, we asked everybody for referrals. I know I hate asking it, and I hate being asked that. Well, who do you know who's looking to buy or sell real estate that can help today? If I knew and I thought you were that person, I'd call you. So what I would say is rather than go for the kill then, and let me back up a little bit. In sales, it's no different than dating for marriage, old-fashioned way. And the referral is, I don't want to get too graphic here, but I do mean to be a little graphic. Getting a referral is consummating the relationship, right, in business. There's no more intimate relationship in business than I take my commission check and hand it to you, or my attorney's fees and hand it to you and hope you sell the house so I get paid. That's pretty intimate, right? So when we ask for that, or the petitioner, their most important asset in their life is the house. And then we say, well, do you know anybody else? You know, gee, you don't want to go to bed with me. Do you know anybody else who wants to go to bed with me? It's kind of like what you're asking them. So what I would say is rather than go for the quick kill, go for the longer term relationship, because sometimes they're not selling the house now, but they will in 5 years. Sometimes that house is sold, but they one day will sell their own residence. Someday that house is sold, but their family member or friend needs probably help and they'll help you. So I'd say rather than go for the quick kill referral, you know, how do you stay in touch with clients? Do you have their email address? Do you invite them to receive information from you? Do you have a weekly or monthly podcast or a live event or something like that? So think about having systems in place to develop relationships over time, so that relationship that might only be a 2 or 3 becomes a 9 or 10 down the road, right? So once you have the email address for the rest of your career, I believe realtors should be emailing something of real estate value to their prospects, everybody they ever talk to, every week minimum. You should be posting on, social media, real estate related content, probably daily, if not at least weekly, something substantial, videos or whatever. And so make sure you have this person in that system and stay in touch with them, maybe call them back every 90 days forever. I'd rather call them back and say, how can I help you? Than say, hey, can you help me? I need some referrals. To me, that just, it doesn't feel right, and I just don't think it works in the long run.
Got it.
But if someone else has a different opinion, put in the chat box, raise your hand. I'm not the know-all, be-all. I'm just going to tell you what I know works for me, okay? Stanley, thank you so much. And it looks like he disappeared. So good job. Good questions so far today, you guys. We've got some real good victories going on. So we have Stanley, who's taken over a 17,000 person adult community, and he's going to be all that in a bag of chips there. And then we got Courtney taking over the Durham, North Carolina probate scene. So we got some guys who are just killing it. You guys are doing great. Thank you so much. Let me check the chat box. Hey, thank you for putting your contact info in the chat box. Always looking for referrals. And then Larry Smith. We don't have the Larry Smith group anymore. We have just Larry Smith. That's a shame. And I'm going to put in the chat box the referral that I put in the opening. And then if you guys are not, you should jump into the, I'm going to put in here the Probate Mastery. I assume you guys know the Probate Mastery website. And then I'll put in the probate group as well that Chet has. Actually 2 of. One's for the estate, which is for anybody, open to the public. And then there's the Probate Alumni Mastery group as well. All those are in the chat box. Okay, who else has a question, challenge, problem, victory, agony of defeat? Claire Monique, Bernadette, aka Monique, Greater Phoenix area. Thank you, Monique. Welcome back. We've been around for a while, though. We've talked. We're old friends. Ohio, very nice. Anybody that call here from Houston by chance? Larry, you're from Dallas area, right? Fort Worth area? Yeah. How about them Cowboys? Oh, he's got his hand up. Okay, let's get him unmuted.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun last night.
Whew. My wife is a big Tom Brady fan. That was just a whooping last night.
Yeah, it was fine. We were due. I think we were the only team in the NFL that he had not. He had an unbeaten record, 7-0. So we finally give us 8 tries. We finally got it right.
Very good, very good. So what's up?
Oh, okay. So I ran across this bill. Now,
I know you'd like to talk about the Cowboys for the next hour, but not everybody is as interested as you would be. So we're going to change the subject back to probate.
That's okay. The Cowboys get enough publicity without me helping them. So,
That's true.
and they don't pay my bills. So let's go right to the heart of the matter. So
Yes.
I was looking at a property in a probate situation, and across the street was an area that had been, they had consolidated all the lots. These lots were individually owned at one time. It's a lakefront property, small little lots consolidated. So there's a ton, there's like 25 personal tracts that have been bought to be resold. And it's right across the street. It's got lakefront. The subject property has lakefront on the other side. And the lot sizes are similar. And the only value for the subject property that I'm going to list is in the land. That the house is trashed. In fact, I haven't been in a house where I felt structurally it wasn't sound enough to walk upstairs, and it was that bad. It should be condemned. So there's no value. There's no need to put any money into it. It's a land play all the way in a great area, up and coming. But I went to look for those sales. I could not find them. It looks like this was done outside the MLS, so I couldn't find any sales. So then I looked for deed records, but the problem in Texas, we're a non-disclosure state.
Oh, wow.
So the deed records will not indicate the value of those lots.
Wow.
So any other ideas you have on tracking down value? Like for something like that?
If you were talking about ballpark, what do you think the lot's worth? If you're just going to guess.
That lot at my ballpark's probably about 350.
I mean, is it worth it for the estate to hire an appraiser? Are they doing a court-appointed appraisal? Is that part of the process for you guys in Texas?
No, it's not required.
So might you consider have the estate pay for an appraisal just because of the area and because of the research and lack of data maybe? You know, the other thing is I have a property that you really can't comp. I have all the information available. It's in LA.
Yeah.
It's technically in a small city outside of LA called Bell. Very limited, small city, very limited sales of these kind of commercial properties. And, you know, I just went to the attorney and said, look, there's no way to know the value. There's just no way. So we could either price it, you know, I can guess a price. Here's the range of what it could be, you know, based on all the data available, but it is very limited. Or we can just limit the high number and just keep knocking down the price 5% every 2-3 weeks. And I said, that's what I'd recommend. I don't mind keeping on the market longer. My business is not predicated on my days on market or my, you know, numbers of price cuts. My business is predicated on making customers happy. If it was my property, that's what I would do. Start high and just keep chopping it down quickly, depending on how quickly you want to go. And at some point, the right person is going to raise their hand and say, here I am, and buy the property. And sure enough, a guy called me yesterday, and I met with him, and I'm not sure he's buying it, but we're now close enough, we're starting to get those kind of phone calls. So maybe that's those are your two choices, I would say. One is just pick a number that you know is high, and just get your client. You could put in California, the listing agreement, automatic price reductions every however often, by however much, is one way. The other one is maybe order an appraisal, and that way you feel more confident. The state may want an appraisal because that way they can defend themselves. If somebody argues it was sold cheap, you can always say, well, we relied on a professional appraisal to price the property.
Okay, well, I'll keep poking around. That may be ultimately the way to go, is just to price it where I think it should have been, because without the improvements, I think I can come up with a ballpark value. What's funny is I'm walking around and I don't know what the owner next door pokes his head out, comes out, talks to me and says, hey, I'm interested in buying this property if it goes up for sale. And of course, so how he knew I was out there, I don't know. but they keep a close eye on the properties, and if they see someone they don't know, they engage. So that's one. I had another question for you that might really help a lot of people, is that I'm getting mailings like from attorneys soliciting business. And I might have covered this a little bit last week, but I'd like to get your, you get an unsolicited, hey, come for dinner and we're going to talk about estate planning. If you got that bill, what would be your approach with that attorney in terms of marketing to them or talking to them? What, and I know other people are going to get these mailings, so I'm just wondering, just in a general sense, what would be your thoughts about if you got those?
Me personally, so I'm generally not going to go out in the evening. I work hard during the day, so I don't really have to work in the evening unless it's going to be a really valuable business event where I'm going to take off, let's say half a day and work. Like there's an event I do every month that goes from like 5 to 8, and so I'll take off the afternoon from 1 till 4 to make up for. I'm just not going to work any extra hours. I'm not going to work at night. That's me. When I was young, I went to everything, but at this stage of my career, I'm more picky with my time. What I might do, and also where geographically are they? Is it local to me? Is it 10 minutes away? Is it half hour away? Is it an hour away with traffic and such? All those will be factors. And is it? Do I have to buy dinner? Sometimes it's like at a Sizzler, you need to buy a meal. Other times it's they're providing it. Other times it's just drinks or snacks or something. All those will factor into whether I would go or not. But I probably would not go personally at this stage of my career. But I would call the attorney and say, hey, I see you're doing this. And we're in the same business because the same people you're talking to, I'm selling them houses or selling their houses, or when they pass and didn't get an estate plan, now they need a probate attorney instead of you. I'd love to help more of my customers get into your program. There's a way we can work together on that. And so I might, find a way. He might say, hey, why don't you come and meet my clients there? And, I can offer anybody who signs up, I'll call and confirm them for you. And then if they own property, I'll offer to pull copies of the deeds so they have the vesting in their hand when they show up and they'll know what you're talking about. I also offer service where when you record the deeds, I'll pull a copy 30 days later and verify with the client that it's been moved into the trust if that's what they're doing with it. So I've worked different ways with attorneys, but I wouldn't let that go by. That tells me there's an attorney who's hungry, wants business, needs help, and I want to try to help them.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to call them. Yeah, it's only 15 minutes away, but really, I don't want to go and take a free meal for that. I want to come and see if I can help. So I think I'll just reach out to them. Obviously, if they're advertising, this is not a cheap mailing, by the way.
Right.
I mean, it's a very high quality. So they're very serious about acquiring new customers, and I think I can help. So that's how that tactic, I think, is spot on. I'm going to use it.
Just make sure you're going there to help them. You're not there to pin down their clients and steal their business and take them home with you. It's really to help them with estate planning, because in the long run, it all works for everybody.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. So let's see. I got from Joseph Chavez. I have a close friend who works as an assistant funeral director, local in the San Francisco Bay Area. What strategies would I use to approach the manager and not come off as an ambulance chaser? So literally, I had a similar experience. I was approached to attend a presentation by a large mortuary. Forest Lawn is one of the largest in Southern California. They have multiple properties. Turns out my parents and my wife's parents are both buried at one of these companies' cemeteries. And I took the opportunity to reach out to the director who gave this presentation. She had a webinar. I attended it, and she called me, and I called her back and said, listen, I know your facilities. I've been there. My parents are there. My in-laws are there. But, I also have customers who, have the need for this. I'd like to share what you do. Can we do an interview? And I'll put it on my YouTube channel and share it with my client database. And she was thrilled to do that. Now, do I think that I'm going to get her to hand out my business card at the funeral home whenever somebody dies? Probably not. But by the same token, people are going to pay for funeral expenses and oftentimes aren't prepared for that. And at least if they know there's a plan to get paid back, if I can reassure them, I can hold their hand and guide them through the process. Certainly she's going to introduce me at the time of need. So again, I think this is another one of those. I think probate has so many different, what I would call verticals. One is cold calling petitioners. I teach a class called The 11 Ways to Get Listings. One is petitioners. One is attorneys. But on this call today, we talked about a couple more. We talked about Courtney going to the courthouse. We talked about Stanley talking to a senior housing sales rep. And we have Joseph now talking to funeral directors, networking. There's multiple ways to work this probate vertical. Don't get locked into the company sells me data and I have to cold call the petitioners. That's not what this is about. It's also about finding your way, your music that resonates with you. I love the legal side, the attorneys and the procedures and the court. I enjoy that. It's not for everybody. I don't have the patience to really work with funeral directors or the senior salespeople, but other people love it and make a great living at it. So and Courtney obviously loves going to court. Courtney, isn't that interesting? That's his name. So find your path, find your message, find your notes to sing your song, and you'll be successful with it. But that's my assessment is my fallback is always, how can I help them? And generally the funeral director is looking for more business. Now they're not going to kill people to get business. They want people to choose them and be aware of them top of mind. And so one way is promote them in your marketing. Okay. We have some other help for Larry. Larry, you want to check the chat box. Some people giving some help. I think you're on top of that as best as can be. Question from Courtney. Anybody have any experience with Philip Vincent's mom's house? So I've interviewed Philip. I like the program. Mom's House is a program to help families find caregivers for mom, a place where she can go and be cared for, and then it ends up leading into real estate referrals. He has a training program. It's in person in, I think, St. Louis. I'm not able to travel right now for personal reasons, so I probably would go to it. I think it sounds really good. I like their program. He has a couple webinars and online stuff that's free, and I've listened to them. I think they're great, but I can't speak any more than that. I don't know anybody using the program. If there is anybody who's using it, meaning you went to St. Louis, got trained up, and either liked or didn't like it, either put in the chat box or reach out to me or Courtney, give us some feedback, or post it in the Facebook group. Love to get some feedback on that. But I like it, and I did an interview with him and put it on my YouTube channel. Dave Pennell has been to it, so you might want to reach out to Dave Pennell, Courtney. Okay, I think I'm up to date on all the questions. Who else has question or challenge or problem or victory you want to share today? Anybody? No? The Larry Smith group. I'm sorry, no, it's just Larry this time. Larry, what's going on? Let's get you unmuted. Let's get you unmuted. You're muted. Most insightful thing he said all this time, and it was muted. Oh well, go ahead.
Hey there. Okay, so the other question I had, I attended a couple of 1 hour group meetings at senior centers, clubhouses and stuff like that. What's your opinion about marketing with talks to senior centers and the like, a particular demographic like that? Because I've been to a couple where attorneys are doing that, soliciting estate business, but I'm wondering if we couldn't turn the page and do it ourselves and maybe invite them or incorporate them somehow. Is anybody doing that?
So I do it online, right? And again, that's my strategy. Just kind of given my personal situation and what I enjoy and where my skill set is and such. But yeah, definitely putting on events. At the end of the day, the more people we help, the more money we make. The more people we talk to, the more people we discover we can help. So there's part of this is a numbers game. Talk to as many people as you can. Part of it is quality of relationship and depth. So the more people you talk to, by definition, the better off you are. When I get asked to speak to a group, my answer is almost always yes. If I can, I'll make it work. Even if it's not normally something I would do, there's something inherently valuable about talking to a couple hundred people that generates business and try to help people. So why would you not? I get we don't waste our time, but how could speaking to a group of people about probate or estate planning not, be good?
Yeah, the reason why I'm asking is the one of the marketing people that was there, because she's just a contract laborer for the attorney. She talked to me and gave me her cards and said, you should consider doing the same thing,
Yeah.
which I hadn't really thought about.
Yeah.
You know, I've had all these other things. And I mean, I enjoy that kind of thing. That's right up my alley. So I didn't know if anybody else was doing something like that, what kind of topics they talked about, how they went around the logistics and organizing it and promoting it, that kind of thing. So
I've done brand events with attorneys, and I wish I did more. I look for opportunities to do more of that. But I would definitely say if you're going to do an event like that, try to find an attorney to do it with, and one that's going to throw in to the mix their marketing. They're going to also invite people, and that way, if you each get 20 people to show up instead of 20, it's 40 people, and you're really leveraging your time that way.
okay,
Okay,
all right, thanks.
good job. Okay, let's see what else I wanted to talk about.
Hey, Bill, can I ask a question as a follow along on that event that Larry talked about?
Sure.
So I wanted to throw this out to the group to see if anybody's done this before, but I've got a list of 2 or 3 attorneys that refer me regularly. And then I've got another list of about 15 attorneys that they didn't refer me, but I ended up working with them because the PR used me. And then I built a relationship with that attorney, but I've not got a referral from them. So I'm actually considering getting a box at the baseball game early in the summer and inviting all those attorneys to come attend, make a 15-minute speech, maybe get a couple of my vendors to help me sponsor it, reduce my costs a little bit. But the price of real estate out here in California is so expensive. One referral is going to pay for that box. I'm just wondering if anybody else has done an event like that. If you've done an event like that, what do you think?
I fantasize about doing those events all the time.
Yeah.
Just, it's one of those things where I've just been busy enough the last couple of years that, I always say to myself, why am I going to do any extra marketing that I'm doing right now? And it's not to say that I'm all that. I'm not saying I couldn't do more business. And frankly, if I was to criticize myself or do a self-assessment, perhaps I would get more of the higher end, higher quality referrals rather than kind of the grind ones that I tend to get. When the people who need help are typically lower income, people who don't need help are going to be higher income, and you're developing relationships with some higher end people that way. So it makes a lot of sense to me, but I've not done it, and I think about it all the time. I think about hosting a Super Bowl party, inviting all the attorneys and other referral sources. I've just not pulled the trigger to do something like that.
Well, I'm just looking to, like we all are, branch out, right? I never like to have all my eggs in one basket. I've got a couple great attorneys that keep me very busy, but all you got to do is lose one of those, right? And
well, yeah, when your business is limited, it's good to have a few because it helps you. The bad news is you lose one or two, and it can really have a big impact. So
yeah, I don't like to have one big well that I'm always going to. So I'm looking to really branch out. I got a goal this year to get 10 referrals this year from 10 different attorneys.
Wow,
that's what I'm really working hard on with a lot of different things.
I don't mean to make it sound impossible, but I will say that part of your question goes back to, the attorneys I work with when I knew the PR, like my past client had a probate property. They without talking to me, open probate with somebody else, wanted me to sell the house, right? So I have really nothing to do with the attorney other than we're coincidental on the same case. We as realtors think, well, how come they're not referring me for more business? I did a great job. And more often than not, the answer is twofold. One, they don't do that many probates to begin with. And two, they're not that good at referring business to anybody, let alone you. And so
that is a true statement amongst attorneys, CPAs, all kinds of professional groups.
Yeah.
They don't know how to refer business.
So the first thing is I always check and see how many probate cases they've done. When they've done 1 or 2 in the last couple of years, I treat them just like any other COI.
Sure.
Literally, I had one last week on Tuesday or Wednesday, who he is a managing partner of a big firm that does a ton of business. And that's just like stop everything, figure out how to get in front of that guy, right? That's how I approach that. Stop everything. The phone's going to ring until I figure this one out. I just don't care. Even a listing is going to wait until I figure that one out. This firm does like, I want to say 50 cases a year probate. That doesn't count estate planning and other referrals and partition actions and everything else. So I would say know who your target is. And when you see those kind of numbers, maybe inviting one attorney to a ball game with you one-on-one is more valuable than 10 if none of them aren't ever going to be able to give you any business anyhow. And then the second point, not in terms of the volume business, on the ability to refer, I almost feel like part of my job is teaching people how to refer me business. So I interview them on a video and I send them a copy of the video. I'm also kind of training them, hey, if you want to introduce me, send them to my YouTube channel. And so you need to think about how do you want people to refer business to you, whether it be a flyer or I use YouTube or whatever it is you're doing. But yeah, and I'll say this, the great attorneys with big practices, they are great referrers. They know how to refer. They're the ones who run their own provisor group. You can't get in that group because it's been sold out for 10 years because everyone wants to get in that one group because the one guy who runs it is one attorney who's great at referring people. That's the key skill, I think, that makes a difference in their success. And I work on myself trying to make sure when people give me a chance to refer. So for example, this big attorney I was talking to, turns out he asked me about a referral for an attorney in Houston. For sure, I know a great attorney in Houston. And they asked me about a realtor in Houston. I'm not so sure about, I know a bunch of realtors in Houston, but I'm not as connected with them. And so I need to really figure that out. I want that to be a great referral because this is a key attorney that I'm going to build a business on. So,
Can I ask a follow-on question?
sure.
So I've always been curious about this because I know an attorney that was offered a referral fee for referrals. Have you ever paid an attorney a referral fee? Is that even legal? Is that allowed?
I think it is in California. I think it is legal. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it. I think, it's like anything else. We've all, I was in the lending business and realtors would ask you for referrals there as well. I think that the goal is to be so good at what you do that people value you enough to refer you the business. If they're just going to do it for the money, then there's always somebody who'll pay a high referral fee. There's always somebody who'll pay a high referral fee such that it's too high and they'll go broke and they don't know it. If you'll pay 25, they'll pay 35. If you pay 35, they'll pay 50. If you pay 50, they'll pay 75 because they have no skills. Why not? So I would say, no, I wouldn't pay a referral fee to an attorney for that. I would say, what could I do to help you either A, lower your costs on this deal and your profitability, or B, help you get more business. And if they appreciate you for that, then they're not going to ask for a referral fee. I'm the same way with, title reps and lenders, and they often offered to take me to lunch and I say, well, let's talk about doing business together, like building something together rather than worrying about, flattering me or entertaining me. Same thing.
Great. Glad I asked that because I have the same belief as you.
Well, good. Well, anybody else have any other thoughts? Feel free to put in the chat box or raise your hand, jump in, and we'll have ongoing discussion. Matt, thanks so much for playing today. Okay. Courtney says he wants to do a Top Golf. I think Top Golf would be fun too. It's whatever you do. I will say I've taken key clients. I like to shoot at a shooting range, so I enjoy taking people that. To me, it's kind of an intimate thing. If they've not ever shot a gun, I teach them how to do it safely. So that's one of the things that I do. I also think it's good to let people know you have guns. I think people treat you with respect when they know you have a bunch of guns in the house. I saw somebody's hand up. Richard, let's get you. What's going on, Richard? How can we help you?
How you doing, Bill? First,
Good.
let me say I'm just changed my plan. I'm not going to try to break into your house.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea.
I've talked privately with both Larry and Courtney about this. This is something that might help Matt down in San Diego or anybody else working with attorneys. Once upon a time, I had an attorney call me. We were in the same networking group together. This guy happened to be a personal injury attorney. And he called me up and said, hey, look, The first house my wife and I bought before we moved up in the market was, we turned it into a rental. But there is an assumable mortgage on it, and our tenant wants to buy it. But I don't know how to do that. The first words out of my mouth to him were, look, you've got the deal already set. You got the price, you got the buyer. You don't need me as a realtor to get in there and mess around and try and get a commission out of it. So let's set that aside right now. He hadn't brought it up, but I just wanted that off the table. Then I told him the steps he needed to do, who he needed to contact to get that mortgage assumed by his tenant. And he took care of that. And then he did two things for me. At the Christmas party for this networking group, he dragged me into the bar and bought me the most expensive shot of scotch that was offered in that place, which was nice. The second thing he did later on was he called me up and told me a story about one of his personal injury clients who unfortunately was killed by a truck that didn't stop in time while she was walking across the street. So now he was litigating a wrongful death case, but she had a house and it was in probate, just started the probate. And he said to me, Richard, we have instructed our client, this woman's daughter, to list the house with you.
Yes.
Wasn't, I'm giving your name out along with 2 or 3 other guys' cards that I know. It was, you're going to list this house. We've got her all prepped, going to just do the good job that I know you can do.
Nice.
And got her 13 offers, sold the house at top price. I also knew the attorney that he referred the probate case to, and I talked to him, read through the local court's rules, talked with him about that, made sure we were going to do it in California, as many people know, with full authority, not limited authority, so we could just get it done quickly. There was a wayward sister who was sort of not in the picture. She really wasn't in the will. Mike, the attorney, was going to be the probate attorney was going to be handling that, but just for completeness sake and make sure there wasn't any problem on the back end, I got 13 offers on the property. Went through 4 rounds of multiple counter offers, and I told Mike, if there's an issue, I'm perfectly happy to come to court and explain to the judge what I did. I can absolutely guarantee that by this process, we've gotten the highest price on the best terms that the market will allow at this time for that house. So there should be no question about the value of the house. But the thing that, getting back to the main point, is with attorneys, another approach with the attorney is, if you can establish any kind of relationship, even in the beginning, a good way to do that or move that along is ask them what kind of advice that in the real estate realm that they might need, their staff might need, one of their clients might need, one of their family members might need, and you're happy to help out for free.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're always looking for where we can create value. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Where's the places we can create value? And I just will add, you told the story about when they have the buyer set up as a tenant. I've been in those situations, and what I do, a little different twist slightly, is I'll say, you don't need to market the property, but you got to handle the paperwork. And I find that oftentimes there's negotiations between inspections and appraisals and disclosures, and there has to be somebody there to work that difference between the buyer and the seller, to work that relationship. So I offer to do it for a reduced fee. I'll do, depending on the sale price of the property, for 1 or 2% for the whole thing. No money up front, no deposit, and I'll handle all the normal things I would do as a realtor. I'm just not marketing the property. But I'll also do a listing if that buyer doesn't fall out, or doesn't come through. so that we have a little leverage on the buyer to help the estate. I'll say, well, put in the MLS, and that way we get some backup interest. And if he turns out he can't qualify, you already have buyers ready to come in the property to help the estate. So there's different ways to work that, but definitely, I think the thing you hit right on is the key is to help our customers and give them value. So thanks for sharing all that. Okay, hand up. I see Nita. If we can get you maybe to put your video on, love to have you join in and unmute yourself. And how can we help you? There you go.
Great afternoon.
Sounds like Nita, it sounds like we got connection problems. Let's do this. Let's turn off the video. Let's try audio only. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better. Let's just do audio only. What's up? How can I help you?
Sorry about that. Great afternoon to you and everybody here on the call. I just had a quick question. I'm dealing with a situation. The decedent has no heirs. We're basically down to a stepchild. And so we've been working with her to kind of help her through the process, filling out the paperwork. We're now down to the property. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, or Cuyahoga County. I was wondering if you could provide any clarity. I'm a little confused on, I know that we have to petition the court to sell the property. There's a Medicaid claim. Let me add that part. There's a Medicaid claim for $78,000. So we need to petition the court to sell the house to satisfy that credit. Could you provide me a little bit of clarity on, I'm working with a realtor and she's not familiar either. How does that process work with the listing? Does the administrator just need to give the listing agent her administrative papers and that will be suffice in order to do the listing and sign for the property? Is that how that works?
Well, first of all, I would say I'm not an attorney, can't give legal advice. Second, I have no experience selling property in Ohio. Third, I would say that what you're training for the realtor to do is to have this expertise. So I would look for a realtor who is experienced in probate in Ohio that can help you answer the question. In California, you don't need the court on a regular probate. You don't need court approval to list the property, and you typically don't need it to confirm the sale if you have full authority. So using the wrong process might cost the estate $5,000, $10,000, months in delays, extra expenses. So I would either find a real estate agent that can help you through that process that's experienced in probate, or I would find you're gonna have to get an attorney to help you. But the attorneys will cost you money up front. The realtor probably won't. So if you're looking for somebody as a realtor to help you, you can go into the estate planning, estate professionals network and look up somebody, or go to Probate Experts in Facebook group and post what you're looking for. But I would find a realtor that's experienced in probate to help you with that.
Gotcha. As a follow-up question, just wondering if you or anyone else has had any experience. This is my first time dealing with such a substantial Medicaid claim. Have you had any experience dealing with those, or do you know of any loopholes to kind of get those reduced, or is it just as it is? Or
it's really, you're trying to close the barn door after the cows got out, because proper estate planning can avoid that scenario in many cases. And that's a good example. Now, Nita, are you an investor, or are you a realtor, or are you a petitioner in this case?
I'm an investor.
Yeah, so I say you might want to teach people you talk to and or a realtor you work with. The value of estate planning is to avoid the scenario, because my guess is 90%, if not all of that, could have been avoided. In fact, you could have spent $3,000 on an estate plan and probably saved the balance of $78,000 would be net to the estate had they had a proper plan. So, but at this point, it's a valid, if they received medical services through Medicare, once that, and the court will check, they'll require an estate to verify that before they close and hold the administrative executor accountable if they don't pay that bill. So there really is no way around it at this point. It's a little too late.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Sure. Again, I'm not an attorney, so I, can't give advice. I certainly don't know Ohio, but you might want to check with an attorney there as well, just to double check on that issue. Okay, Ashley, hand up. Let's get you unmuted. What's going on, Ashley?
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good. It says ask me, so I'm going to ask you what's going on.
Quick question for you. When you were speaking about the attorneys, jogged a question for me. You mentioned that when kind of selecting attorneys to, work with, to build relationships with, we need to be asking how many probate deals they're doing. Is there another way to even kind of filter out before we even decide which attorneys to reach out to determine kind of how much business they're doing beforehand?
To figure it out besides, I actually have the data of all the cases and I can
Yeah.
search them and do that. So I would just do that if you can.
Okay, yeah, I do have some data, but I was just curious if there was another way for like an attorney that may not be in a county that I have data for, or they may, I don't know, some attorney I may be. Is there a way to look?
You're in Georgia. I know you guys have like smaller counties. You have more small counties, and we have huge counties. We have the largest in the country, I think. So I'm not familiar with how hard it is or how easy it is to get data in, and I'm sure each county is a little different. I would imagine. So I don't know, but I will say this: if you have the data, now you know the answers that other people don't know. So I don't know the answer, but I do know finding the answer is valuable, and I try to figure out how to get my hands on the data if I could, whether talk to a title company or find. I know with the XP Realty, find investors who are marketing to probate. So you guys can share different counties, share different data together. But that to me, that database of who's actually handling the cases is very valuable.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And also, the other thing I would say is check to see who's advertising to get probate. Like do Google searches. Really important when you do Google searches, do it both as yourself and do it as incognito, so you see what the average person is going to see. But when you see an attorney advertising in Google for probate services, and you go into Facebook and you see ads there, they're spending money and consistently in dollars in that. They're going to be generating some business. Those are also people you want to approach. But the ones who do very few, it's hard to verify somebody's only done a few. Mm-hmm. The other clue is on their website. Look and see what they put. Oftentimes you'll see websites that will say, we specialize in divorces, corporate, DUI, criminal, and probate. Well, that's probably not a probate person versus if they have only on their, let's say, wills and probate, trusts, family law, then that's their area they really specialize in.
Okay. That helps. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Okay, so let's see here. Last couple of questions I see in the chat box. How many questions? TJ says, and this is an objection we get all the time. I'm getting told all the time, we're all set. Everything's taken care of. Let me just tell you something. Nobody is ever all set. Nobody is always taken care of. That's just a polite way of saying, I don't know you, I don't trust you, and I don't like you yet. And so your job is to figure out how to get them to know, like, and trust you. And then they'll go, oh my God, this is so much work, I had no idea. But when they say that nobody's all set, nobody wants more. Well, I'm just curious. Let me take a quick poll. Who here wants to do more paperwork in your life? Raise your hand real quick. Who wants to file more papers with the court than you do now? Like taxes isn't enough, parking tickets is enough. You want to be more involved with your local. Who's looking forward to that? I'm just curious. Anybody? I don't see anybody raise their hand. So the answer is nobody's really all set. They just don't know what they don't know, or at this point don't trust you enough to tell you the truth. And just understand that's the answer you're getting. There's a quote from one of the best books I've ever read in my life called A Course in Miracles. And the quote is that all communication is either an expression of love or a cry for help. So you have to break it down. When they say to you, I'm all set, is that an expression of love? Probably not. So it's a cry for help, but they don't know how to ask for help. And your job is to figure out how to get them to open up to ask for it. So that's our job as salespeople, is to help people discover what they need and how they need it, and that we're there to help them. So that's a broad answer to a broad question that we deal with every day, is how can we create more value for our customers? My first coach was Zig Ziglar of blessed memory. He used to say, you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. So our job is to figure out what that person wants and how we can help them.
Bill, what's the name of that book again, please?
So it's a religious book. It's a Christian book called A Course in Miracles. And if you notice, I'm a religious Jew, but it was a book that really helped me develop my personal spiritual growth, but it also a lot of personal growth in there. And I think sometimes I do find a lot of personal strength in religious material that's not even my religion, because it's motivating and helping people. But that particular book is A Course in Miracles, and it was like a lesson every day for I think 365 days. And there's study guides and study groups. It's really it's a long time best-selling book called A Course in Miracles. I can't recommend that enough. Okay, we're past the hour here, so I'm gonna wrap it up, everybody. Again, I'm Bill Gross. Just a quick replay. We do this Probate Mastery alumni call and the estate professionals Mastermind group call every Tuesday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. We also record it. Go to probatemastery.com to see past episodes and such. Facebook group, we have Estate Professional Mastermind. That's free for anybody. And the Probate Mastery alumni for those of us who graduated. I'm Bill Gross. I host Probate Weekly as well every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's also live streamed on YouTube and Facebook. I also host on Facebook Probate Experts. So you can see me there, ask questions there, and give me comments there. So thank you, everybody. Make it a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.